fancy intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey, Star Trek Fleet Man. Welcome in. Today, I want to talk about, and honestly, I want to rant a little about Star Trek Fleet Command. Now, we want to kind of have an idea every time we do this about the amount of event store currency we get for our event store. And while we can debate the merits of each event store, which we always tend to do, for example, we've discussed already the value of getting more and more Nurse Chapel shards, which I will be doing, and you see my current 382,000 event store currency. But the big question is always, how much will you obtain? Now, one content creator who I love and appreciate has kept up with this for a long time, and now it's become more of a community project, as in more of us are now looking into, okay, how much are we actually going to get? Because it feels like the amount is curious. By the way, that content creator I'm referring to is, of course, the cat, Ultimate DJ. Shout out to Ultimate DJ, we love you. But now myself, Jules, etc., like, look, we need to get a list down of how much that you can see, and this is something that we'll continue to do, and I'm sure DJ will continue to do, how much we're getting. And the purpose of this was I simply wanted to know, one, did we improve from the last event store? Because as many people in the comments will go ahead and tell you, the last event store was terrible. It was the worst that we've ever had, and we can actually show that numerically. Also want to explain the process of how we come to the numbers that we're about to show you before we do that. We're not including things like grinder leaderboards, which it should be noted that there were multiple grinder leaderboards this month. For example, the faction reputation one that I really loved that helped pay out currencies that we don't include when it comes to, okay, how much have you earned? And ticket events also made a change. We'll discuss that in the numbers themselves. And I'll actually go ahead and show you this part first. So here are the actual event trackers. This is exactly how we do it. Now, at the time of making this video, there's still 3 days left to the arc. So we are extrapolating an estimate of the final few days. Maybe it could be more, make it be less, but we're including things like the web store launch code, that 24,000, the gift, the different SMSs, and of course, trying to ignore the SLBs for the most part, where we will track them, but we're not including them in how much a player is getting. We're only focusing on things like free to play and those who purchase the battle pass and do the tickets. So with that in mind, how much did you end up with in the event store? Well, that's something that you'll have to tell us. But as far as how much you could, if you just want to do nothing but the free-to-play route and you were a completely solo player, no SLBs, none of that, this should be right around your numbers. So this is like the master sheet that we'll keep updated. So the immediate thing to see is, well, clearly this month is way better than Enterprise Part 3, especially for free-to-play. We're talking about between Battle Pass and tickets, we're looking at significantly more there, like basically 100,000 more, a little bit less. And you see between the free-to-play pure earnings is 60,000 more. And again, that last 3 days is a guesses. Technically, it could actually be a little bit higher than that. Now, it's important to compare this month to other 2-month event stores as well, because in the past, here's how they calculate event stores. An arc will run 3 or 4 months. Well, that means there's 3 or 4 months worth of things to catch up on or do, and that historically has been correlated to the amount that you get in an event store. At least that's what it's seemed like. And you see some of our best event stores ever when it came to total BP and tickets was actually DS9. But if we're talking about what free-to-play got, it was also DS9. The amazing Christmas of December 2022 can never be forgotten for how generous it was. Basically to the point where they came out and said, yeah, that was a mistake. But here's what happened after that, is you started getting less and less of event store currency slowly getting paid out as time went on, where you got less in Legacy, but that was understandable. That was a 2-month one, but it still got 200,000 less. But again, it was a 2-month store and the most valuable 2-month ARC store that we've ever seen. Then it went down to 428, which was a 4-monther for Voyager, which was definitely low, but was backed up by a lot of tickets. And then you saw less in the Christmas edition of Make It So, which is the worst Christmas one that we've had in our short tracking there. You can include Duality kind of in the Christmas one, I guess, because it came in January. But anyway, then finally we had Enterprise E here 3 months ago, which was the worst event store we've ever seen numerically, even going all the way back to 2021. So the worst in 3 years is the worst. And then you've got this one. So the Gorn definitely is a step back in the right direction, where you see we had a negative trend since December 22nd or December 22, we saw it just kind of slowly drip, 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 and then it hit a bottoming out of Enterprise Part 3, and now we're starting to see it surge back forward. Hopefully that's the case, and using things like this to try to track and educate players on what they deserve, because again, this is basically a little bit of a rant video, and the rant is this: as the game gets more and more complicated, because I'm gonna go ahead and warn you, quite a bit being added to the game here in the summer. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but new things are coming, and new things mean more things, like old things need to be done or caught up on or paid for, whatever you want to word it as. And event stores historically have always been a great catch-up mechanic for free-to-play and light spenders. Now this month is better, where if you're getting your tickets and your battle pass, getting about 340,000, not counting leaderboards, isn't bad at all. But the truth behind this is what it's really saying is the amounts that Scopely are paying out aren't changing too much, but they're locking more and more behind leaderboards. So example, you see that I am at 482,000. That's 40,000 more than the BP and the tickets would say that I should have. So clearly ALBs and SLBs have contributed to me having more. But here's the skinny and here's the kicker. I'm in the #1 alliance. I'm in IA. Many of you know IA because you'll look at the leaderboards of all alliances. IA is actually one of the strongest alliances in the game. So not only am I in the top alliance of my server, I'm in one of the strongest alliances, period. So we're generally going to win all ALBs. I'm also sitting at a proverbial sweet spot. Level 50 means I don't have the 5-star mechanics, but I do have more things to spend on, and it's easier for me to grind because I'm probably stronger than people lower in my brackets, like level 46s and 47s, and that's how I was able to finish #1 in the reputation grind for my bracket. So I'm in a good position, and I'm a little bit less than other people are at because I did miss a couple days and I'm not as studious as other things. The only thing I really focus on is finishing my battle passes. So you can see now the heroics are done. I still gotta do my jelly brawl for the day. But the main point I'm making is that as the game continues to progress, one thing that I think it needs to remember is that there's so much in this game that Scopely, you've got to pay attention to this. You cannot turn event store months into also paid months. It can't be ALB, SLB. If you're going to keep adding new content, which you are, fine. New content's not necessarily bad. If we're, helping with older content, helping with older loops, things like these, stay a mechanic allowing the average player out there to catch up and obtain what they need or don't have. I mean, it could be something as simple as getting the assimilated Stella skin because maybe they're struggling on Thursdays, not being in a top alliance, or maybe it's getting Nurse Chapel, who's going to help with the Gorn loop that everybody going into the 40s needs to complete, right? So Scopely, please, here is the math. Again, we track everything here. You know how the player base is in Star Trek Fleet Command. Scopely, you've got to do better with event stores. We've had consistently a struggle bus, and then when you made the ticket change, that was really the worst of all. So if you don't want them to come through the uncommon tickets, fine. Find another way to get the amount up. And I'm saying this because the next event store we see, I want to see free-to-play back in normal ranges, 400,000 plus, and to the point that that is considered normal. That's what the game needs, and hopefully this video is something that you players can rally behind, because remember, my voice doesn't mean anything without the players. And event stores need to be something that free-to-play and light spenders catch up with, and that doesn't mean that VIPs and spenders shouldn't have things. I'm just saying that these months aren't for them. Cool, give them things in this month. Give them better content. G6, don't worry, you got content coming. But what I'm saying is, you've got to allow the average player out there, the fact that level 39 is still the level with the most amount of players in the game, you got to let those players catch up, have these type of mechanics. So we need to see the next event store in 3 or 4 months, loot boosted. Appreciate Gorn having more, really do. Love the 24,000 free event store currency day one. Have had a couple of comm chests due to problems, etc. Love that this is better than what it was, but it's still not great. And definitely want to see those totals up for the average player so that this, again, can be the catch-up mechanic that everybody needs it to be so we can get bigger, stronger in the game. Now, if you have a more impassionate plea or you have an argument that you want to add to this, drop it down in the comment section down below because, of course, I will bring this to Scopely. And when we do our grading for this month, I'm sure this is going to be a big topic for a lot of players on whether it gets a positive or a negative score. Again, thank you to people. Wow, words are hard. The people like Ultimate DJ, Jules Verne, etc., who help me with these type of numbers and record keeping. They're all amazing people, and y'all are an amazing community. We'll catch you on the next one. We're out.
An even better outro than the intro. for the Empire and glory to your house.